Hello, and welcome to another video. Let me adjust myself. Give myself a little smoker's cough. Take two. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another video. I'm Ann Blackwood, your Silicon Valley Sage sister, here to bring consciousness to the forefront of your daily life to make life a little kinder and simpler. And today I'm going to read another story from the Sneetches and Other Stories, which is by Dr. Seuss. And that story is, What Was I Scared Of? This story is a great story about not making assumptions based on what we think we know. So I talk about how, we're not afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of what we think we know about the unknown. Because if we knew nothing of it at all, then we would have no reason to fear it. It's what we think we have to be afraid of the unknown that we fear. And this, What Was I Scared Of, is a great story about that. So I thought I would do another reading because Dr. Seuss is just awesome and has some amazing morals. And this is another one of my favorites from this book. So What Was I Scared Of? By Dr. Seuss from the book, The Sneetches and Other Stories. Well, I was walking in the night, and I saw nothing scary, for I have never been afraid of anything, not very. Then I was deep within the woods, when suddenly I spied them. I saw a pair of pale green pants with nobody inside them. I wasn't scared, but yet I stopped. What could those pants be there for? What could a pair of pants at night be standing in the air for? And then they moved, those empty pants. They kind of started jumping. And then my heart, I must admit, it kind of started thumping. So I got out fast as I could go, sir. I wasn't scared, but pants like that, I did not care for. No, sir. After that, a week went by. Then one dark night in Greenwich, I had to do an errand there and fetch some Greenwich spinach. Well, I had fetched the spinach. I was starting back through town when those pants raced round a corner, and they almost knocked me down. I lost my Greenwich spinach, but I didn't even care. I ran home, believe me. I had really had a scare. Now, bicycles were never made for pale green pants to ride 'em, especially spooky pale green pants with nobody inside 'em. And the next night I was fishing for doubt trout on River River. When those pants came rowing toward me, well, I started in to shiver. And by now I was so frightened that I'll tell you, but I hate to. I screamed and rode away and lost my hook and line and bait too. I ran and found a brickle bush. I hid myself away. I got brickles in my britches, but I stayed there anyway. I stayed all night, and the next night too. I'd be there still, no doubt, but I had to do an errand, so the next night I went out. I had to do an errand. I had to pick a peck of snide in the dark and gloomy snide field. that was almost 9 miles wide. I said, I do not fear those pants with nobody inside them. I said and said and said those words. I said them, but I lied them. Then I reached inside a snide bush, and the next thing that I knew, I felt my hand touch someone, and I bet that you know who. I love the art in this. I love all of the Dr. Seuss artwork that goes along with it. And there I was, caught in the snide. And in that dreadful place, those spooky empty pants and I were standing face to face. I yelled for help, I screamed, I shrieked, I howled, I yowled, I cried. Oh, save me from these pale green pants with nobody inside. But then a strange thing happened. Why, those pants began to cry. Those pants began to tremble. They were just as scared as I. I never heard such whimpering, and I began to see that I was just as strange to them as they were strange to me. I put my arm around their waist and sat right down beside them. I calmed them down, poor empty pants with nobody inside them. And now we meet quite often, those empty pants and I. And we never shake or tremble. We both smile and we say hi. So, another great moral of this story is that especially when it comes to people, making judgments and assumptions based on things they don't know, rather than asking questions. In the email that I put out for my mailing list for April, in my message of the week, I asked the question, how often have you found yourself in a position where had you just talked things out a little more, or had you just asked a clarifying question, you could have saved yourself so much trouble rather than making assumptions? How many times have you been in a conversation with somebody where just by clarifying one thing did a whole mess of trouble get resolved? This is a great story about how two cultures that don't understand each other, who don't bother to understand each other, when they just finally do come to connect, realize that they had nothing to be scared of. They had nothing to fear. There was no need to feel scared by one another. You have this unknown that can easily be resolved and become known if you just have an interaction rather than just assuming anything and staying away. I love these morals from Dr. Seuss. As I said in my last video, it's obviously why Dr. Seuss got canceled by the mainstream narrative, because he promotes morals of stories like this, where in the Sneetches, it's not about what you have on the outside that makes you better or worse than anybody. It's what you have on the inside. And if you stop judging people by the things they can't control, but judge them for the content of their character, you can all recognize that we're all just the same. Even if some of us have different skin color or wear different clothes. It doesn't matter. We're all people. We're all human beings. And then this story, what was I scared of? What was I scared of? It's the perfect title. because it helps you recognize that what you were scared of is what you thought you knew. But those are assumptions. Why not, instead of make assumptions, go find out what's real, rather than just work off of assumptions that might not be. So, thank you guys for joining me for another Taste of the Sanctuary video here on YouTube, where I read Dr. Seuss. Maybe I'll read some more. We'll see. May the energy you serve you well. Be brave, stay sane, stay curious, and be kind to each other.